At different points in time, specific fighters have emerged as game changers, showcasing a unique blend of skill, power, and charisma that captivates both fans and opponents alike. And for the past couple of years, Gervonta Tank Davis has been that man. From his awe-inspiring victories against some really formidable opponents to his unmatched fighting style, Tank Davis is undeniably the fighter to watch. And in this video, we'll talk about why he is unstoppable. Looking at Tank Davis' fight, it's not difficult to believe that he started fighting when he was quite young. And by young, I mean 5 years old. Well, to be more specific, he was 5 when he started training at Upton Boxing Center. And by the age of 14, he had already begun to make a name for himself in amateur fighting circles, winning Silver Gloves and Golden Gloves championships left and right. So when he made his professional debut in 2013, it's unsurprising that he did it with a bang, winning the match against Desi Williams via first-round knockout. And it has been knockout wins after knockout wins since then. That said, most people would tell you that 2017 was the year when people really started paying attention to Tank. He had gone unbeaten up until that time, having fought 16 matches. But he started 2017 with a fight against Jose Pedraza, who was the then IBF super featherweight title holder. And what was even more interesting about that fight was that Pedraza was also undefeated after having fought 22 matches. Just going off of stats, Tank seemed outmatched. He was relatively new and so hadn't fought as many matches as the undefeated Pedraza, even though he was also undefeated. However, Tank proved that he was more than equal to the task, knocking out Pedraza in the 7th round and being the one to end his unbeaten run. Another quite notable fight in Tank's rise to prominence in the world of boxing was the fight against Leo Santa Cruz on October 31st, 2020. At the time, Santa Cruz was a 4-division world champion and was the current WBA super featherweight title holder. But Davis showed that none of that mattered, catching Santa Cruz with a sharp left uppercut that left him unconscious on the canvas in the 6th round. That match showed that Davis was more than able to take on anybody, and it allowed to retain his lightweight title and even win Santa Cruz's own super featherweight title. But probably the biggest thing that came out of the match was the confirmation that Davis's punching power is something to be feared. The punch that sent the mighty Santa Cruz to the ground also sent shockwaves throughout the boxing community. And that matchup against Santa Cruz, a seasoned and formidable opponent, only reaffirmed Davis's reputation as a knockout artist whose knockout-to-win percentage now stands at 93%. What makes Tank's punch power even more impressive is the fact that he is relatively short for a boxer. At 5'5", he has a relatively short reach, so it has to be that he compensates for that by packing as much power into his punches as he can afford to. So even when the angles are awkward because his opponents are not quite the ideal height, he still manages to send them to the ground at the end of the day with just a punch. The reason his punches are so effective is not just because of power, though. Tank is also very precise, and you can almost see him calculating when would be the best time to strike a blow for it to be at its most effective. That combination of power and precision is why Tank is up there as one of the most effective knockout artists in boxing. And it is the reason he has managed to knock out 27 of his 29 opponents so far. But if you've ever watched Tank fight, you know that knockout punches are not all that he has going on for him. Davis is also one hell of a versatile fighter, and his 2021 fight against Mario Barrios was one of the matches where that versatility really shone. The fight was his 2nd time headlining a Showtime PPV pay-per-view, the first being his fight against Santa Cruz, so people were tuned in, and Davis did not disappoint at all. As I mentioned earlier, Davis is relatively short for a boxer, and at 5'10", Barrios has about 5 inches on him, so defeating him in a match would take a lot of calculations and creativity. But Davis was more than able to manage it, demonstrating adaptability and switching seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw stances throughout the fight. Barrios's height was not the only thing that made him formidable, though. At the time, he was an undefeated WBA champion, and Davis was just moving up to the super lightweight division for the first time in his career. So, Davis had to come to that match with finesse and speed, switching seamlessly between stances and making it challenging for his opponent to read his moves. This, coupled with his very effective punch, was how he won the fight in an 11th round technical knockout victory after having knocked down Barrios twice in the 8th round and once in the 11th round. And with that victory, he won the WBA super lightweight title and proved that he is a force to be reckoned with in multiple weight classes. Something else that the fight showed was Davis's proficiency in close quarters fighting. He likes to get up close and personal with his opponents, slipping his signature punches and countering opposing punches right under his opponent's noses. And he is really fast. He has a quick jab and a lightning-quick straight left. When he gets close enough, he rushes in with as many of his punishing blows as he can manage, and many of his opponents are not able to withstand that kind of pressure. Being not that tall probably helps him to sneak up on his opponents, if you think about it. With his blend of versatility and knockout punches, it is no wonder that Tank has managed to amass an impressive record for himself, capturing multiple world championships in different weight divisions. He controls the pace of every match he fights, leaving his opponents to try to keep up. Meanwhile, he remains resolute throughout all his matches, refusing to give up even when it looks like the match is not going in his favor. That guy's resolution has to be made of steel or something, and it shines through in the way that he fights. But of course, when you have a punch that is almost lethal, it's easy to believe that you can punch your way out of any losing situation. Only fighters who have never heard of the Tank would not be worried about entering into the ring with him. He might have started his career as a green-nosed boxer, but he now has a decent list of championship wins, enough to put the fear of God in anybody that comes against him. I mean, this guy has won all 29 of his professional matches. His opponents are right to be scared. One of his defining matches has to be the one against Yuriorkis Gamboa. This was his first time moving up to the lightweight division. And because he had won all the matches prior, everyone was eager to find out whether moving up to lightweight would be the end of him. His opponent, Gamboa, was a unified featherweight world champion at the time and was ranked number 2 by the WBA at lightweight. So for a newbie like Davis, it looked like the odds were stacked against him. However, as you have probably guessed, he won this fight. A fight that was taken past the 9th round for the first time in Davis's career. The fight was tough, though. Davis's powerful blows were enough to take Gamboa down in the 2nd and 8th rounds, but the fight continued until the referee had to stop it in the final round. The final stats proved who had the upper hand, though. Davis landed 37% of the punches that he threw, while Gamboa managed to land only 13%, proving again that Davis's fighting style is top tier. The victory earned him the vacant WBA lightweight title, cementing his status as a 2-division world champion and a true force in the boxing realm. There's one factor outside of Tank himself that has also been instrumental in making him into the unstoppable force that he is now. He has always managed to have the right coaches. Calvin Ford was a big part of his amateur career, providing the guidance and training that young Davis needed to have a successful amateur career. Even Tank knows that his success story would be incomplete without Ford. For most of his professional career, though, Tank enjoyed the privilege of being mentored by the incomparable Floyd Mayweather himself. In fact, Mayweather was his promoter for a while, and Davis himself has mentioned having studied Mayweather's earlier career. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Tank and his talents after all. I've spent a couple of minutes talking about how skillful he is. But you have to admit that getting tips from one of boxing's finest as a new professional boxer has to have contributed to Tank's success as a boxer in some way. Mayweather's mentorship must have helped Davis to sharpen the skills that he undoubtedly already had and develop a deeper understanding of boxing strategy and mental fortitude. And, in addition to that, Mayweather helped with publicity and promotions. All of these factors combined to make Gervonta Tank Davis a very difficult boxer to beat. There might come a time when Tank would enter the ring with an opponent that would break his unbeaten record. After all, there is no boxer that is unbeatable, right? But for now, he appears completely unstoppable and more than prepared to entertain fans for many years to come. Now tell us in the comments section, which boxer do you think might end Tank's unbeaten run? And while you are down there, don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.